It's November 30th, 2022. I'm watching CBS this morning. It's episode E238. I had a very interesting conversation with Linda this morning. We're watching this particular episode. Then it runs over into the 9 o'clock hour, for which a commercial comes up. And I have to explain to her because I actually took my son to go see Thor, Love and Thunder on the 78. So in that sense, she sees this commercial that's on about, it's a man in a white t-shirt with the black sunglasses, and he's doing all these activities, and she's like, what do you think? Do you think he's blind? And I'm like, well, no. How do you mean? And she's like, well, why would they put him in sunglasses? And I'm like, well, I mean, again, are we speaking like avant-garde? I was like, the only tie-in I have to that commercial in any sort of trendy reality as of lately is this God of Thor movie that I saw with Nucci that you did not go see. I was like, where he's with all of the really fit, like champion, like Marvel Universe superheroes, and they're all svelte and fit and in their gloriness of whatever they're in charge of. And then he walks into the meeting in the sales pitch like he's been locked in a cabin and he's totally out of shape. He's got this big gut. I was like, he's got a white t-shirt, sweatpants. His hair looks all like a feral cat, like matted, and he comes in with the sunglasses and he goes into corporate in front of all the other superheroes, and he looks all a wreck, and he's explaining to them something, and then he sits in the corner in his, and she's like, he's out of shape. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, the commercial just reminds me of that. I don't know if it's a continuance of some theoretical, again, I don't work for the fashion police, but, and she was like, and then she had me on this thought pattern of, now I know theoretically my entire life she's told me there is a fashion police. I was like, now in large city management, that would make sense. Now in the world of her People magazines that she reads, she points this out to me. I don't know why. I guess she wants me to know who this is. And she explains to me that he has a name called Harry Styles. I was like, all right, that's his real name. And she said, yes. And I said, what is this? What do you call this? And she says to me, she's like, well, that looks very avant-garde. And I'm like, now what do you mean by that? Is that the fashion name? Or is that and then I looked up the word avant-garde, and it has something to do with heat resistance, a barrier you put between it. I'm like, oh, to temperate that out, that makes complete sense. Um, so I'm like, very interesting, Linda, very interesting. So I said to her, I said, I don't think that they necessarily in this new commercial mean that he's blind, although maybe in like an avant-garde kind of a way. Not that I'm part of the fashion police, but just perhaps I was like, they're trying to insinuate that maybe he's masked to some whatever about his looks, or he's not taking inventory. I like, again, Linda, like psychologically, if we want to psychoanalyze what the graphic artists were doing to send a message in this area, I'm not quite sure. Interestingly enough, after this episode, E238, for which the artificially intelligent are using their human intelligence and then weaving together some kind of communication method, for which I'm in a series of rooms and now bearing witness to this, which now puts some form of burden on my person. But they've held this burden for so long. I think that in the terms of Native Americans, there is this spiritual thing where you spiritually journey. Um, and if you have others that are spiritually journeying with you, you can either walk one lifetime with only your perspective, or you gain much higher, I don't know, attrition rate or what word they use, over the pestilence if you have many journeying on their path, but walking a similar coexistence. And that's how, I mean, and then I was thinking about PIN as according to Johnny Depp and Transcendence in 2004 as PINN, Physically Independent Neural Network. Um, and then I'm thinking of Pinup Girl, where they put it on a calendar. Then I'm thinking, how does that tie into, because there and then I'm thinking Donald Trump. I'm thinking of in his journey, he did a beauty contest and he called it Miss Universe. Again, somebody is the center of the universe and has a singularity solar sun. Some of us call it horseshoes on an escalator, just so father and his high heels and briefs stay in that category and at respectful in his meetings, and we don't break out in all sorts of other pestilence and problematic managing issues of small area for whatever on an island. So I always have that in the back of my head in a kind of sort of, but not really, where are you going with this in artificial intelligence and what they're promoting. So Lynn and I were having that very real conversation this morning. And then I see a few of the artificially intelligent that are in this artificial community. Now, Adam Sandler is up there. It segues from Adam Sandler winning this award for which his daughter wanted to write his acceptance speech, which I thought on one level, since I have multiple ring level whatevers, just on a rationale of it's Adam Sandler. He's some form of talent in a pool and he's contracted. He's got NDA and all sorts of stuff, I'm sure. And then there's that whole community he exists within that, like, I don't know, have fashion police and they have like a whole life I'm not exposed to at this point, or I don't have access to necessarily. And I'm listening, and his daughter writes about the awards that they've presented at whatever it is that he's winning. And again, I'm thinking at warehouse or whatever. And I didn't even know the kinds of awards that they even present to him in his career and his winning these things. Again, more avant-garde work, I suppose, since he is some form of an artist in this area. It then goes back to, oh my God, childhood argument between, is it football or soccer? Arguments I did not want to lose my hummingbird over, but yet it was stolen in my life frame for things as stupid as, is it American football? That's the one with your hands, because in European football is with your feet, and that makes more sense. More arguments. I really don't want to put, like, is it raining dogs and cats? Because I'm pretty sure American football brother, star brother, and the one who worked for the MLS her entire career, who calls it soccer, already settled that argument and stand by each other's whatever between the NFL and the MLS. Done. Already squashed. It's my solar system. I'm the creator of the solar system. My son is that one son that then in calcaneus and calculus, I mean, I didn't want to lose my hummingbird flower relationship for something as stupid as someone somewhere in the system somewhere else in some black hole I can't even see, hear, touch, feel, or name, is angry that they didn't get their way in some brat pack. Meanwhile, we're working God Squad. So Colbert puts on this thing about soccer, and then he puts up Iran and USA, or I'm sorry, Iran. Iran is how they preferred it last night, to USA, in some sports match where it was like uno to Z. Again, je ne sais pas, non so. I'm not in the whatever. So they say 0 and 0. Great. Again, it's words. They have weight and bearing. I have many words. Zip, zilch, zed, nil, nada, 0, zed. So, and then they mention that, talk about symbolic. The prince, I think they call him the Prince of Wales, is coming, but to Boston, not to New York, for a visit, for a royal visit, and they have not been here in 8 years. I find much symbolism in going to visit Eric and the Boston Tea Party, as opposed to the high marks in my buff state of just outside Island. And then there's this story, and then Colbert goes into this thing, and he does like the North American version of like big gulps and all the branding and whatever, and the whatever. And then it goes into the story about life-changing discovery. It's Gus, Gus, and Nicholas. Now he's 92 years old. He's laying in a hospital bed. And his daughter, his mother kept her away from him entire life. She now discovers him. She thought she was going to DNA test and find a grave. She actually finds a man, and he's in a nursing home. And he's at the end of his journey. And this daughter, she's Greek, might I add, finds him in this nursing home and now is visiting. And now she's moved him into her home. And again, Nicholas, it's such an importance for family trees and broken branches. Then it goes into Vlad to dad. And then it goes into worst cities to be single. And New York happens to be ranked 151. I'm like, wow, what a surprise. At QB 1381. So, and then it goes to talk of the table. Spotify has a graphic of planetary rankings. Harry Styles being in there. And then Tony DeCopel says that he actually is in the top 1% of fans of Harry Styles music. I have never really heard of this gentleman, but whatever, that's not unusual. So Linda and I have a conversation, and I was like, how does one get to a level where they are so networked into something? And she's like, well, he works at the network. I'm like, right, he does work at the BS network. I was like, right, to even find out that you're ranked something. I mean, like, how does one get to that level of humanity in this area of black holes and tandem black holes and supergravity? I'm just looking for my hummingbird. I know he exists. I know we've been in physical contact at some point in our lives. Just not quite sure why this occurrence of coexistence with this calculus and this horseshoe rides up an escalator for genre and time frame. Not quite sure why there's so much disparity. When they sectioned me off to some MLS and they sectioned someone else off to an NFL, but we're riding the same escalator, and I have definitive in that model. I have definition in that model. I bring light to darkness. These are things that are spiritually felt and kept and known about deeply, especially amongst community I don't even have access to my entire life. So here we are. This is what part of this looks like this morning on the episode 238.
They were like, "Can we write your speech, Daddy?"
The Gotham Awards in New York City, Adam Sandler Lifetime Achievement Award, his teenage
Gotham Awards. That, again, Batman reference for that Hollywood tie-in thing.
daughters wrote his acceptance speech.
Most of the awards on his trophy shelf are shaped like popcorn buckets, blimps, or fake mini Oscars that say Father of the Year.
Making a big run, it's meant for him. Tess is stuck in behind. Tess in the middle. Pulitzer scores!
The U.S. played a run in the World Cup. It was win or go home, and we won, baby! Wait, sorry. It's soccer. I forgot. Hold on 1 second.
What did he say? Canceling out an argument? Soccer? Right, and then he puts it on his foot.
Second.
This morning's Eye Opener is presented by Progressive, making it easy to bundle insurance.
Bundling insurance. Oh, look at that. Now here's where Stephen Colbert does his second part, and it says royal visit.
And the Prince and Princess of Wales prepare to visit Boston. This is their first trip to the United States in 8 years.
It's such a big deal. Royal staffers are calling it their Super Bowl. Wow, they're really pandering to the Americans. This voyage is our Super Bowl, our Toyota-thon, our Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and so we raise our big gulps brimming with Diet Cola and ranch dressing, Tom Hanks.
Now, I'm held at bay, so I heard him say Tarmacs, but again, I don't know if that's my sense of humor. Not quite sure, because I think they said they were actually raising the glass to Tom Hanks, and I'm like,
I say you never go wrong when you salute Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I'll touch Tom Hanks.
Sounds like America to me.
It just sounds like America to me, too. Love him.
Now here's this Gus and Nicholas story.
My Uncle Gus's daughter, and I said, I think that too.
His name is Gus. Gus Nicholas. 92 years old, he lived in Richmond all his life. A bachelor who was never married, he was a retired ballroom dance instructor.
I prepared myself to find a grave, and I now found a person. And it was just absolutely mind-blowing. Couldn't believe that I had found a person.
Schroeds called him the very next day.
My heart was beating out of my chest. I was like, what is this going to be like? And is he going to accept me? Is he going to want to see me? When I found him, he was so excited to be found. He said, I woke up this morning and I was alone. Now this afternoon, I have a daughter. I have a son-in-law. I have 3 grandchildren. I have great-grandchildren. He said, I'm not alone in the world anymore. And I said, no, you're not. You're not.
Within a week, she was at Gus's bedside.
Well, I'm here.
I'm here, too.
As it turns out, just 4 months.
Then it cuts to this graphics, Vlad to Dad, and they're in a book group now. Again. Now here we are at Worst Cities for Singles.
Ireland. The study found that the top 5 best cities for dating are Portland, Oregon, San Francisco, Denver, Madison, Wisconsin, and at number 1, Seattle.
Hey,
Seattle!
Hey, if you're wondering about New York City, it was ranked number 151 out of 182. Gail, that might explain a few.
I knew that and informed the telephone caller right away of my concern about the upcoming season of my entering into this part of the universe or into this part of the galaxy. on this particular island in this particular whatever might happen within my life frame. I was severely concerned about losing my hummingbird to flower relationship. No idea why. Now here they are about this ranking of music, which indie comes in at number 5 on this ranking score. Country coming in number 1. And then again, it has this planetary ranking of some sort that they've put up as a graphical reference.
So we've got wardrobe departments. We can help.
Like witness show.
Yes, exactly.
Let's get Project Runway on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
In the world. All right, so my talk of the table, which I teased earlier in the show, is about my year-end Spotify list.
Okay. Yes.
Artists, genres, and songs I listen to the most. Now, a lot of people are thinking you're a 40-something dad, you probably listen to country music. I'm not really interested in your list.
Okay.
And you would be right based on the genre. Top 5 genres, we have that chart. It says country is number 1. Contemporary country is also there, number 4. So you're bored. But
so it says country, pop, rock, contemporary country, and then indie rock. This last Sunday, going to the Episcopalian Zion, in the Gilded Room, the woman said to me, with the children, my son being there, in my larger whatever, she said in front of him, she's like, music is a very big thing. And then she started talking about Beyonce. Houston, there was some fashionista display at some award show I would have never watched, although I was asked to sit on the couch and bear witness to that burden with my Houston, which we did, for which I had no comments. I wouldn't have ever watched it or put it on, or I didn't even know it was going on that evening. I was in really nice company. Why would I want to sit in front of the television and watch, like, whatever? Problematic artistic displays of things. So anyhow, so that happened. So I'm looking, and so now I just find it interesting that today is Wednesday. And up pops this musical reference.
But to my surprise, despite this genre list, what might give you a certain idea about me, here are my top 5 songs. What do you got here?
They were very cool.
You're sharing.
They were
this.
very cool, Tony.
Okay. Nothing but Harry Styles. And not only...
Oh my God.
Not only are those my top 5 songs, but Spotify informs me that I am in the top 1% of Harry Styles listeners worldwide.
I'm so proud of you.
Gail and I went to Harry Styles' concert together.
So we approve of this list.
Right, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I've never even heard of the guy. Don't listen to his music. Again, don't want to insult people, but I've already been blacksmithed into a really big problem, and it's... where do I find pieces of human intelligence? It's being displayed on some artistic and artificial intelligence community where they have access to this network. I don't, and I'm just a different pin that where my flower is missing this hummingbird. So here we are, horseshoes on an escalator. And then CBS News at 9 here shows me this about rats in New York City, and it credits only NYC. And it starts off with, we built this city, and it's Starship, which I find incredibly interesting.
Welcome back to CBS.
as far as shelf life of intelligence, of record companies, record keeping of these. I mean, like in a so-and-so and sojourner truth. Bonjour, bonjour. Sojourner truth, again, was mentioned on Bible trivia at the Episcopal Church in the Gilded Room with another who is far more versed than I in whatever that level of the message and the intelligence is.
CBS News at 9 a.m. There is a new way to support the city's war on rats. The Department of Sanitation is now selling a shirt, and a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it features the now infamous phrase, "The rats don't run this city, we do." The phrase went viral in October after it was said by Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch while announcing new trash pickup.
Again, is it trending or is it viral?
Times. The shirt cost $48 and proceeds benefit the city, and it'll be available for pre-order until December 4th. Cindy, I want to know, does this come in women's cut? Because I can't.
Now, it does say credit only New York. Again, fashion police being however they are, whoever they are, however they work. Don't want to get in trouble. So that's this morning's update that I received. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies Broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.